They called him a fool, the man who loved a woman everyone else had given up on. He was Pastor Joel Harper, one of the most respected young ministers in New Haven City. People flocked from miles away to hear him preach about God's faithfulness, His endless mercy, and His unwavering love. But one quiet night, in the stillness of his study, God asked him to do something that defied all logic, something that didn't make any sense. A soft whisper settled in his soul, "Go, unto a woman who will break your heart, the same way my people have broken mine." And so, his journey began. In the heart of the city, under the harsh glare of neon lights, he found her. Her name was Grace Monroe. She stood alone on a downtown street, a woman wrapped in a red jacket, the glow of a cigarette illuminating a face that was beautiful but broken. Grace was once a church girl, full of faith and light, but life had been cruel, chewing her up and spitting her out onto the cold pavement. She'd become an escort, selling pieces of herself to survive. She no longer believed in love, especially not the kind Joel preached about. When Pastor Joel first approached her, the warnings came thick and fast. His friends, his congregation, even strangers on the street, they all had an opinion. "Pastor, she's trouble. Stay away from her, she'll ruin your ministry. This can't possibly be God's will." But Joel saw something different. He didn't see her sin, he saw her soul. He saw what God saw: a beloved daughter who had simply forgotten her immeasurable worth. He saw the flicker of hope buried deep beneath layers of pain and despair. He saw Grace. Their story unfolded under a cloud of judgment. Joel brought Grace to church, and she would hide in the back row, her shoulders hunched against the weight of 1,000 stares. The whispers followed them everywhere, spreading like wildfire through the pews. Gossip turned into headlines. The pastor and the prostitute. Scandal in the sanctuary. The world screamed its disapproval. But through it all, Joel stood firm, his love for her an unshakable anchor in a sea of condemnation. He loved her not for who she was, but for who she was created to be. They married quietly. There was no grand ceremony, no pristine white gown, no cheering crowd. It was just two broken people, standing before God, clinging to the promise that He could create breathtaking beauty from a pile of ashes. But the pressure became too much for Grace. The constant shame, the piercing stares, the relentless reminders of her past. It was a prison she couldn't escape. The weight was crushing her. One day, she ran. She ran back to the familiar darkness of the streets, back to her old life, back to the men who offered fleeting pleasure, but always delivered lasting pain. Joel was utterly crushed. His heart shattered into a million pieces. He fell to his knees, his fists pounding the floor. He prayed, he cried, he screamed at God. "Why, Lord? I did everything you asked of me. Why would you let her leave?" In the ensuing silence, God's voice whispered back, a gentle balm on his wounded spirit. "Now, you know a fraction of how I feel. Go find her, and love her again." And so, he did. Joel found Grace one cold night, standing outside a cheap motel. Her makeup was smudged by tears, her spirit completely shattered. She couldn't even bring herself to look at him. The shame was too great. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered, her voice cracking. "I'm not worth saving." Joel stepped closer, his voice soft and steady. "Grace," he said, "you never were worth it, and neither was I." That's what makes Grace so amazing. He took off his own coat, wrapped it around her trembling shoulders, and began to lead her home. He didn't come with anger. He didn't bring judgment. He simply came with love, the same relentless, forgiving love God shows to His own unfaithful people, time and time again. Today, if you visit that church in New Haven City, you'll see Grace standing beside Joel, but this time, she isn't hiding. Her head is held high, and a radiant smile shines through her tears. Forgiving love isn't weak. It's the most powerful force in the universe. It's the kind of love that says, even if you walk away 1,000 times, I will still come for you. Because that's exactly what God did for every single one of us. The moral of this story isn't to ignore pain or pretend it doesn't exist. It's about loving through it. It's the story of a God who loves the undeserving, and a man who dared to mirror that love, even when it broke his own heart. Thank you for watching. If this story touched you, Please consider liking and subscribing for more content like this. We'll see you next time.